welcome to another episode of Behind the Boardroom, where we chat with industry leaders about their journeys and strategies behind their success. In today's episode, we have Vasu, who's a seasoned expert in the FMCG sector. Vasu has over 35 years of experience in companies such as Glaxo, Danone, and Wrigley. In his recent stint as the Associate Director Sales Development at Perfetti, he leveraged BI for sales operations, automation, and strategies. Hi Vasu, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning, Radhika.
Good morning.
Welcome.
All right. Okay, so Vasu, you've had an incredible journey in the FMCG sector, right? So what are some of the key milestones and achievements that you're most proud of?
Very nice question to begin with, Radhika. I work for really large corporations like Glaxo, Danone, Wrigley Mars, and the most recent being in Perfetti, all leading FMCG companies. And in Perfetti particularly, the last role has been in the area of BI and sales automation, where technology has been driving quite a number of things in sales. Amongst many, very specific, to pull out is difficult, but I try to say that the launch of Boomer way back in 1995, when the company entered India, it was a very small market. It was not even a 30 crore rupees worth of gum market in India. Not very many players. Somebody like Perfetti and Wrigley Mars then entering were tiny business of 30 crore and launching Boomer and making it a huge brand. One of the best moments. And much later, when Center Fresh was kind of repositioned, and I wouldn't say repositioned, was kind of launched through brand ambassador in South to become a leading market share holder in Tamil Nadu, having some of the best moments of mine. But looking back at particularly my 1995 launch, I wish the kind of data we have today, thanks to sales automation, I wish I had it, because what it took probably a few months, maybe a few quarters, I could have done it today maybe in a few weeks' time. So yeah, at least today we are there. But I wish I was having that opportunity of having plethora of data at the click of a button today that I have. I wish I had it, and probably I would have made it even bigger. So those are the big moments of mine, amongst very many.
All right, and I think that's probably what we'll be discussing more, right, about technology. And if you had technology back then, what are some of the things that we could have done during the product launches?
Absolutely. I think amongst, again, a lot of things that one can do. Specifically, you can go and launch the product in a set of stores where your propensity to succeed is going to be high. Say, for example, I go to a pawn shop with a lollipop today. Back then, I would have gone to every shop because I'm covering a store. But if I have a lollipop on hand, the last place I want to go is to a chemist store or to a pawn shop where the kids may not come alone to buy a candy. Right? But today I know that I don't have to go there. Similarly, if I am going today to a supermarket, I know I cannot sell a 1 rupee product in a supermarket because the supermarkets or the standalone supermarket is a terminology that is commonly used. Don't sell anything which is of certain value. So the basket value for them is important, and they don't sell a 1 rupee product. So back then I would have tried, work hard. So that way, thanks to technology, the data, the evolution, the speed at which we get it, makes it a lot more customized. Your efforts are at the right level to the right type of store and whatnot, and hence your chances of succeeding is extremely high. I'm sure it's an evolution, and I'm happy to see that I was part of the journey, particularly in my last stint in Perfetti, where the BI, the automation, really augmented very many, helps in very many ways of decision making. I'm sure we can talk about it, how it just helps not the sales team, but also be it marketing, supply chain, your entire logistics, how it can help. We can definitely talk about.
Sure. Yeah, I think, product launch is definitely something that we have to cover in depth, and even about data. But even before that, right, let's talk about integration. Why is it crucial to, integrate, companies should be integrating their DMS and SFA solution?
Again, a very relevant point in today's context where the complexity is high. Was it less any? But I would say yes, it was less. Maybe the complexity is more. Today you have e-com, today you have model trade, Yes, modern trade was present in the past as well. Today you have quick commerce within e-com. You have your regular general trade, which is here to service anyone and everyone. Why is it very crucial of integrating data is because you have one or two factories. Typically, any large player also would have a few factories in the country. If you are an FMCG player and you are into large distribution, chances are that there could be very less number of factories, which means your raw materials or packing materials have to be well managed from the inventory level, for which you must know what's your inventory of finished goods pan India. And that happens only when there is a proper integration of DMS. Thanks to cloud, you can have today data of every distributor in the country with you in as good as real time. If I had to just give a number for the purpose of comprehension, any medium to a large sized company in India in FMCG space would have about 1,500 distributors. I'll not be surprised if some companies, large companies would have much more than that. So imagine if there are 1,500 distributors in the country span, J&K to let's say Kanyakumari or in the east to west, to have their inventory at every level of the town that they have. And if you are selling particularly food item with shelf life, nobody looks at the life of a product. Everybody looks at the date of manufacturing as fresh as it is possible, which means the products have to be fresh because consumers can get the best taste, best value for, especially when it is fresh. They have the best feel of how a product, the chewability, or if it is a biscuit, how crunchy it is. If it is any other cooking item, how fresh it is very, very important. As I said, therefore nobody looks at the expiry, everybody looks at the freshness of the stocks. So you have to manage your freshness of the stock at every consumer level, which means at every town you need to know what is your inventory. How do you get that? A typical salesperson of a company would service these markets once a month or twice a month at best. If you have 1,500 distributors, it's natural that company cannot have 1,500 sales force on the ground. Therefore, for them, the fastest, quickest and uniform way of collecting data is through the integration where the distributors, as and when they punch the bill, the depletion of stock takes place, backend team can run it, get the inventory. That helps them to know what is the inventory at the distributor level by SKU, by manufacturing data and whatnot. This helps in your production planning. The production planning then back in helps in your raw material and packing material and procurement and whatnot. And for the logistics team in terms of transportation of goods, helps them in managing their entire fleet operation. How can I place? So it's not that it helps only the sales team, it helps in marketing team if they want to launch a product, if they want to launch a new promotion. For example, consumer offers are quite common and frequently seen. So this is an area where marketing would find it, okay, this is my inventory at different set of towns, different set of population or different set of geographies. South could carry less inventory, maybe North could carry higher inventory. Why is it helping marketing? If I am launching it in North and I want to advertise it, the Bihar or the Madhya Pradesh or the Chhattisgarh or the Jharkhand, the Hindi speaking lands would anyway see the advertisement, but the product is not available, so you don't want to go. So therefore the inventory that I see, okay, South is less. I launch in South, the advantage of media exclusivity is there in South. Today, thanks to digital, it is highly hyper localized. So I know that I can place it in Delhi, NCR or in greater Mumbai or greater Chennai. That's good enough. I don't have to launch it in anywhere. So whichever way you look at, whether it is for marketing team, whether it is for sales team, or is it for the logistics or raw material procurement team, it helps in very many ways when you integrate the data. Because as I said, in typical FMCG, 1,500 distributors who would buy at least 2 to 3 times a month, which means you are talking of 3,000 transactions between the company and the distributor, and each of them servicing at least, give or take the kind of company, 300 to 500,000 retailers. And companies like well-distributed companies like a Levers or a Wrigley's or a Perfetti would be even 1 million or much higher. Getting so much of data, how do you understand it? That helps the entire organization. Again, I'm not talking just for the organization. It must also be seen when data is available and inventories are better managed, it helps better profitability to the distributor because they don't have to carry unnecessarily inventory of a slow moving or a seasonal products, or I'm not carrying adequate stocks of fast moving SKU or hero SKUs. So it helps just not the company, it also helps the channel partner, it helps the retailer because the stocks are fresh, therefore consumer gets the freshness of stocks. So all this are very, very nice business practice, I would say, to integrate a DMS SFA solution.
All right. Now, I should ask you this, right? Because there are a lot of companies who have probably implemented the SFA, but not the DMS, right? Because SFA is relatively much more easier for, rolling it out to the sales team. Now, in this scenario, right, because there is no integration with a DMS, what are some of the challenges that the companies would face, and how can this be addressed probably with just an SFA solution?
I would like to take this question in two parts. You have DMS, you have SFA. I would like to talk about it a little more first. You have the DMS and SFA, which means they are integrated, and if you have product range, for example, sells only in a typical type of stores. I sell the product in a pawn shop, it sells, or in a small grocer, low-end grocer it sells, or it sells, let's say, in chemist. I can design my inputs based on my retail environment. Whether the product can sell only in chemist, then I can design my scheme. Whether it sells only during the first fortnight of the month, it helps from my back end because I have already integrated. My schemes are very well designed. It helps in my product launch also because I know how much of it being built to a store, whether the stores are purchased repeatedly. Yes, if a person is going and covering on a fortnightly basis or a weekly basis, the SFA tells you what is booked, but what SFA does not tell is what is sold. Finally, it's applied to that store. So it could also be cancellation. Whereas when the data integration takes place between DMS and SFA, it gives plenty of advantage, as I said, because you can design your entire trade marketing or customer marketing inputs based on the data. It can be at town level, it can be at a channel level, it can be only for modern trade, it can be only for e-com, it can be only for urban GT, it can be only rural GT, it can be done anyway. So this is for companies having DMS and SFA integrated, and it is important. And I also said a while ago, integrating helps in entire inventory management. So if you are a company of a size of 1,000 distributor or plus and having at least 25-30 SKUs or more, the investment on IT DMS is not a cost, but it actually is a way of managing better, I would say, bottom line, because it helps in very many ways. Unless somebody sees the benefit of it at a lower overall level, usually it is perceived as an investment which I don't know whether it will yield. The returns will be in X numbers, not in few percentage. That's something that I have seen in all the companies where I have worked. I'm sure all the companies I mentioned, all of them are into that. At the same time, a company is not at the stage where I'm unable to invest on DMS and SFA integration, but I am on DMS. Only on SFA. The benefits of SFA is a field discipline. Field norms have not changed over the last 50-70 years. I can relate back to at least 50 years, thanks to my mentor who told me how it has evolved over a period of time in the 60s and 70s. The sales fundamentals have not changed. What does it mean? Going to a distributor in the morning, registering the the inventory of the distributor, going to the market, taking the order, confirming that I am in the town. So all these today are not done physically, where somebody tells that I have come to the store, somebody is not calling telephonically, hey, are you present in town A or town B? Today, thanks to geofencing, geotagging and whatnot, you know for sure the salesperson had gone to the market and he or she has started the work on time, and the distributor's inventory are punched. Now, these are all information gathered. How does it help in making a report out of it or intelligence out of it? Okay, 10 people have gone to market today at 10 o'clock, 20 people have gone at 11 o'clock. You can correct it. That's more a one-time activity. It's more of a discipline. But when you only have it as a tool to capture the field discipline, then it's okay. It's not serving beyond a purpose because you are only ensuring that biometrically I am present in office. So I walk into an office, I biometrically prove that I'm here. Beyond which it is nothing because it is pan India, 300-400 people are working. I'm ensuring that the people are there in the field all the time. That's all it can do. It can only drive certain amount of discipline in the sales system. But companies who cannot therefore afford a DMS integration, I would say choose the top customers. The typical 80-20 principle we go, the top cities, the metro cities, or your top rural distributors or channel partners, super stockists, whatever it is you call, start gathering their information on a timely basis because information is power. But that was the good old saying. Acting on information is even more powerful. What does it mean? If I have my top customers, if I can take the example of Votri Flexi DMS. I still remember that why is it important that you have your rural customers data being captured? Because again, it's a rural customer. Of course, in the example that I'm giving of Flexi DMS, it's just a rural DM. A rural is one example I'm giving. Companies who just don't have DMS and SFA integrated, you have your top cities, top 10 cities of the country, which would typically account for about 50-55% of your sales. And then you take the top rural customers, maybe you have already covered 80%. Can I have a Flexi DMS where whenever the distributors who work on various software, whether it is a Tally or Busy or any software, accounting software suits them that they use, I still run a patch to ensure that whenever they punch my customer, if I am a company person and my company's transaction takes place and I use, let's say in this case, Flexi Botry, which is lighter version, inexpensive relatively, then it is better to take because you get top customers inventory at a set frequency. In a typical SFA, you get that only when the salesperson goes and records it. Whereas in a flexible model that I talk about, Flexi DMS, a lighter version, company will have the advantage of having top customers. You don't have to invest 1,000 distributors. No, I don't have 1,000 distributors. It's okay. You have 500. Okay, don't invest. But can I capture only for the top 100? I'm talking of 20% of my the total. Maybe they are accounting for 60%, 65% or even 70% of your business. I'm able to capture their data at a set frequency. My decision making becomes much sharper because these are data-backed decision making. Chances of success are very high. If you use SFA as a tool more for discipline, following norms, guidelines, good, but today that's not sufficient.
True, that's right. And we covered about logistics in the earlier question. Now, how does, logistics is the backbone for, the FMCG companies, but how does this integrated system actually help in, streamlining logistics and the delivery schedules? Can you share a few examples?
I'm sure a lot of companies, be it, Perfetti, Mondelez, Nestle, all the giants, I would say, the leading companies, have already this in place where the automated ordering system, because of your historical data, because you are able to gather a lot of past data, your primary, your secondary, the primary and secondary based on seasonality, festive season, it's winter, some products sell, summer, some products sell. You have gathered information over a period of time. Now, because you have gathered information over a period of time, and your consumer marketing team will have inputs in the form of a TVC or a digital campaign or an IPL is coming, therefore I'm going to launch. All these have been very nicely identified already through a lot of data. So you would know your trends. Because you know your trends, it obviously helps in ensuring that the distributors have the pattern of ordering. I said a while ago, maybe 2 orders a month or 3 orders a month. But even those 2 or 3 orders a month, if I know how frequently I buy as a distributor, the logistics team can then ensure fleet placement. It helps in deliveries on time. Example I'll give you completely different. If you order it in Instamart today, even if the product is not available within the set distance that day, their backend process is such that it will throw up the order to some other locality, and yet your order would be fulfilled later. although their commitment is 10 minutes delivery or 12 minutes delivery, this I'm talking as a user, as a consumer only I'm telling, not as somebody who has experienced it from the back end. But if I place an order, if the products are there, fine, they get delivered. Even if it is not, from their back end, it captures which is available, whichever is the nearest locality, it would have a separate delivery. Essentially, delivery time is important, and optimizing the delivery time is most important. Therefore, it's a very valid question. How does it help logistics? It helps me to have a set business, billing, let's say, rather than typically month end. I can place in the month end, what happens, typically everyone bills in the month end, say 50%, I'm just giving a number. Then the pressure on placement of trucks, the pressure of placing the people to load the goods, and then it gets delivered, so on and so forth. Whereas in an integrated system of DMS and SFA, where the automated orders are suggested order to the distributor, as they open the system every day, an order gets thrown up, and then the distributor places the order. It makes my fleet management, placement of orders for my deployment of fleet for the day. Therefore, it helps you in your logistics management and helps in your bottom line.
And that brings us to the end of this episode of Behind the Boardroom. To our audience, thank you for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe in your favorite platforms. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep exploring the power of technology in shaping our future. See you soon.